Do you love rom-coms? Do you wish you could talk about Christmas movies year-round? Then we have the perfect podcast for you, Hallmarkies Podcast. Throughout the year, we cover all things romance, holiday, and Hallmark, including recaps of every Hallmark show, like When Calls the Heart and The Way Home. You can also get loads of bonus content covering shows like Bridgerton, Sweet Magnolias, and Just Like That. We are an all-female group of friends who are passionate for these shows and movies and give our honest opinions as well as gush over what we love so much. But that's not all. Every Monday, there are interviews with all your favorite actors, writers, directors, and more. Check out Hallmarkies Podcast on all your podcast providers and on YouTube. That's Hallmarkies Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Hey, it's 10 a.m. and this is Utah's best sports radio.
Say my name.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb.
You're damn right.
Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Lloyd's setting the bar a little low today. Usually he says top 5 show, and it's like, if we could be in the top 10, that would be great. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, the coach, Tim LaComb. Coach, let's get it. How are you?
Good, man. What's up? I got my Mammoth.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, bring the juice today. It's a big one.
I needed to get a sweater, a Mammoth sweater. I've been kind of holding out hope to see if my guy Yamamoto gets a new contract, because that's the jersey me and my boy are all in on. But you don't want to get a jersey unless you know the guy's going to be around for a while. So
you're going to wait for the...
So got to wait till the off season. But
that's smart. That's a prudent play.
Yeah. But look, if I can snag a jersey and have it on before the end of the show, I'll make it happen.
That's awesome.
I just need somebody to bring one down.
Yeah, bring one down, and preferably one that's signed through a few years.
I'll Venmo you when you bring it down. How about that?
Yeah, and they should stop by. We're on remote today.
I know. We are down in Linden, and a place you are very, very familiar with.
Yeah, Next Gen Motors, and I'm not familiar with this new spot.
Yeah, this is beautiful,
unbelievable. If you've been to Linden on State Street, the old Low Book Sales, Next Gen purchased that, and it's 3 times larger than the old facility, and it is an awesome. It's got everything you need. If you need to buy a car, if you need to get a car repaired, if you need some parts, they've got everything here. So we're excited to be here today, and excited to get into their concept and talk about why Next Gen is having so much success in the car world right now.
Let's make it happen, too. So come on by, hang out. We'll be here until 2 o'clock this afternoon. But here in Linden, it is just a beautiful facility here at Next Gen Motors. All right, so a lot of talk today about the NHL, as it is a massive Game 6. Winner moves on. I mean, if the Mammoth get the win, they'll move on to Game 7 in Las Vegas. If the Golden Knights get the win, then they move on to the next round. So it's a must-win, to say the least, for the Mammoth.
They say do or die.
Do or die.
Right? And I said yesterday, I mean, they joke on inside the NBA all the time. When a team loses, they're off to Cancun.
Yeah.
I don't know if the NHL, you go up to Lake Winnipesaukee or wherever you go up in Canada, Saskatchewan, some of the outer regions. But, man, I guarantee it's somewhere, because you're not in the playoffs no more.
No more. Hey, it's one of those things where I got to imagine when you're a coach going into the NCAA tournament, it's one and done. Do you, from a coaching standpoint, do you treat that any different? Do you address it any differently with your guys?
I think it goes without saying. So I think the more you talk about it, you freak people out. And so it's probably more important to focus on the things. Like I think the Mammoth probably spend a lot of time on trying to figure out how to break through on the power play.
Yeah.
That's been a big, huge issue. Right now, Vegas has a 92% penalty kill percentage. And so the Mammoth have got to break through on the power play. But you get more into, what's causing us such pain right now in the series. Where are we having success? Let's lean into that. But, some of these crucial passes, the plays between Veggie and him passing it either direct or out on the board. I mean, all those things are the things that have been causing them issues, turnovers at inopportune times. So tighten up mistakes, drills, things like that. But at the end of the day, the guys know that if you don't win today, you clean out your locker.
Yeah, it's on. And there's always that vibe, too, that I think it really resonates with the team, coaching staff, but in particular players on a team when you realize no team runs it all the way back completely the next year. There's always some level of movement. At the college ranks, at the professional ranks, you look around and you're like, this is going to change in some way, shape, or form. And what we've built and what we've experienced over the last 7-8 months is going to get turned up. It could be some minor changes. It could be some major changes. But that's always a weird feeling, realizing, hey, this isn't going to get run back next year in its complete form. So let's enjoy this while we can and make it last as long as it can.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that people need to remember, this series has been very momentum filled.
Oh yeah.
I mean, inside each game, it seems like there's 3 or 4 games played. So there's a ton of hockey left to have one game tonight, and then as I said yesterday, the beautiful part of the way this series is set up, if they win a game, then obviously Vegas has the advantage of going back, but then Utah has the momentum advantage and has proven that they can play right with the Knights. If they could have 52 more seconds, had 2 wins down
52
there.
2 seconds away.
Yeah, I looked right at the clock right when I was just like, oh my gosh, 1 or 2 more clears, but it is what it is. So you're close, and tonight, there is no other option. You got to go through one door to get to the next.
All right, so I've got some thoughts on today because, look, we can break it down, and we will. We'll go X's and O's on this thing. But ultimately, it just comes down to some good vibes. And one of the reasons I love working with Coach, and not just over the last couple of weeks, but since he was coaching at BYU, and we interact down there, is a certain level of positivity you just don't get from a normal person. And I admire that because I used to be that way, and then Lloyd beat it out of me. So I am pretty much a negative person now.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. It was me, right?
And,
right.
You're the problem.
And so
Lloyd.
that's the thing.
Yep.
I'm trying to protect Coach in his positivity as much as he can. And how do we do that? Well, we can't let that light hide under a bushel. No. We got to let that thing. It's a good vibes day today. And so essentially, if you have something going on in your life, you need some good vibes out there. You got a big job interview coming up. You got something going on in your life. And you need a little good vibes heading not only for you, but the Mammoth tonight to stay alive at least for one more game. Tweet at us at Scotty G Zone, at T LaComb, at Lloyd Colzone. And you can, whatever you need in your life, whatever good things you've got going on, let us know. If you do need a little bit of a shout out, we got you. But I want it to be a good vibe Friday today because no negativity on this show today. We'll talk a little bit about the power play and it's how atrocious it's been. But for the most part, we're putting good karma out on the air today. Nothing but good stuff.
But the power play piece is fact. That's not any, and I think Bear would say it. I think. But the beautiful part of that, Scotty, is it's not like it's the end of the season and you have to just sit on that.
Yes,
something can be done about it, and if they could break through tonight. First of all, creating some penalties with their speed, baiting some penalties, as they say, and I loved watching that happen. With you get an advantage, a guy reaches in and gets a piece of the skate and yanks you down. So certainly the Mammoth have got to draw penalties, but then, man, once we get them, I mean, the 4-minute penalty the other night just broke my heart. Because I thought 4 minutes, we're going to find a way here.
Yeah, they're going to come away with a singular goal. And the fact is, when those 4 minutes were over, the Mammoth actually played better. There was another one in the third period where they drew a 2-minute penalty, and they actually came out firing. It's almost as if the pressure was lifted from them. Like, I think they feel this such intense pressure to score on power plays now that when Vegas ultimately kills it, which they have for the majority of the series, then Utah's like, all right, well, fine, we got that over with. Yeah, we blew another opportunity, but let's get back at it. And then they actually start playing better on 5-on-5, which makes zero sense. But I don't know if it's the pressure of trying so desperately to score in a power play because you know you haven't been good at it and you know it's a point of emphasis and everybody's talking about it. And so when that gets lifted and you screw it up and you're like, all right, well, let's get after it now, folks, because we can't score on a power play, but we can score 5-on-5, so let's let it fly. It just makes zero sense. But you know what? Tonight it changes. Tonight, all right, here's my first good vibe of the show today. Tonight, Utah will score on a power play.
I've had that same feeling. At least one.
At least one. Lloyd's going to join us on that too. Right, Lloyd?
Well, they're due for it.
See?
And you know, so with every piece of bad news,
that's the positivity right there.
Yeah, that's where you got it from.
Yeah.
It'd be about time.
With every piece of bad news, we talked about how hard it's been. Their penalty kill's been great. And, And the fact that it's been great has been the reason why this has been a close series, because they're 83%. And that is an area coming to the series and this season that Vegas was elite. You know, they're elite in the power play. So that is at least a good thing that's been happening. So we just got to get a couple power play opportunities and knock one of them in.
Second good vibe, Utah will not give up a goal on a power play. Their penalty kill will be perfect tonight. And again, this just shows
do you mean when the other team's on the power, or when they're actually on a power play, so they're not going to give up a shorty? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. Well, okay, I will say that too. They will not give up a shorty tonight, and Vegas will not score on a power play. So on their own power play. So when Utah's in a penalty kill, they'll be perfect tonight. But I mean, Lloyd jokes about the shorty. In overtime, I think it was the first overtime, they had to kill a 2-minute penalty, and they did it. And then so you kill the penalty, but then you give up the game-winning goal on a shorty. Again, makes zero sense.
But that's the statistics of this series have been a little bit wacky.
Everything's been wacky about this series. I'm so fired up for this game, though. I'm fired up for the atmosphere, what it's going to be tonight, and obviously this fan base isn't going out without a fight.
But they're going to need everybody tonight, and even if you don't have tickets, get down there and rally outside. I am a big believer in energy, man.
Yeah.
And we do know this place rallies and supports like no other. So, as I said, there's no other option that's acceptable tonight. We got to figure out a way to get the dub.
Certainly, I love Utah's physicality in this series. I love that after Game 1, in which the Mammoth got essentially hit into oblivion by this Vegas team, they have been every bit the aggressor in this series. And I admire the heck out of them and what they've been able to accomplish in that regard. That has to continue tonight. You cannot allow yourself to get bullied, because Vegas is going to be the same team regardless. Whether you're smacking them around or whether you're not, they're going to still bring the physicality regardless. So you have to match that level of physicality, and in some cases you have to exceed it. Because that's going to be a constant. That's their MO. That's who they are. Utah's still learning how to be physical from a game to game, and for the most part in this series, they've been phenomenal in that. You can't go backwards in that. And I will also say, too, really important part, you got to play well right out of the gate. Utah seems like they've been starting behind the 8 ball in these games throughout the course of the series, and then they finally find a way to right the ship a bit. Can't do that tonight. Right out of the gate, like they did in game number 3, score early.
Score.
Yep, they took that 2-0 lead at the end of the first period, and it's like Vegas was like, yeah, we got no interest in being around here. If you set the tone early, I think you can make Vegas be like, all right, we'll let them have this one. We'll get them down in game 7. But if you set the scene early on and you make Vegas really feel like, okay, this crowd's crazy, these guys are all fired up, this place is nuts, let's just stay healthy, let's get out of here, and we'll beat them up in game number 7. Just if you can set that tone early and get that in their minds, you're going to be in good shape.
And the other thing I think was important, I think the difference in pace between game 4 and game 5. Vegas was really able to kind of pin the puck and keep it in the zone. And while they weren't necessarily, firing shots all that time, it just wore the Mammoth down. I felt like in in Game 5, the Mammoth got out and were able to open the game up. And it was a more frenetic back-and-forth pace. I think that favors the Mammoth, but those that's where details come in.
Yeah.
That's where, Veggie getting one and making a good pass, the pass being received and moved out of the zone. Also, just we saw the Uyghur turnover. Those turnovers at the blue line or in the neutral zone, those have been killers in this series. So eliminate the minor mistakes that have been major, because they haven't been often. They've just been, a little
just
sporadic.
Worse timing, too.
But that's where Vegas, because they're experienced, they jump on it like, they see that blood in the water, and they've been able to answer. So I think being able to get out in front, like you said, and then keep that momentum by staying on attack.
It's going to be a great atmosphere, and remember, you'll hear it coming up tonight right here on The Zone, your official radio play-by-play home of the Utah Mammoths right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Mammoth and Golden Knights coming up tonight, and if the Mammoth can win, they'll force a Game 7. If they lose, then Golden State moves on, and then we are officially in off-season mode, and I think I can speak for everyone when I say nobody really wants that right now. Nobody wants any part of that right now. No off-season. Keep it rolling as long as you possibly can, and let's see this Game 7 coming up, because Nate doesn't know this, Lloyd, but Nate, in the back of his mind, I already feel the vibes, has already given us an opportunity to go to Vegas.
The nod on the 7?
Like he's already said, if there's a Game 7, you guys take the show on the road.
Well, again, I'll follow your lead, but I did watch some clips of The Hangover, and I do think, Lloyd, you and I could definitely fill those three characters.
We're the three best friends that anyone's ever had.
I can wear the baby sling. I'm that guy.
And the thing is, you have a grandkid that you can actually bring.
Actually, true. I could bring one of the twins.
You could bring one of the twins.
we don't even need to negotiate. I can just bring Della or Maeve.
Oh, man. It's been a minute since I've seen that. I got to go back and watch that.
Oh, man. I thought of that the other day. I thought that would actually be for the media days. We should go down there in uniform.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Fall Line is a true crime podcast covering the coldest cases in the southeastern United States and occasionally beyond. We focus on the missing persons, the unsolved murders, and the unidentified does that don't get media attention. Empathetic and intensively researched, The Fall Line will take you on deep dives into unsolved cases that you've never heard of and make you wonder why you haven't. Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. The Fall Line is a true crime podcast covering the coldest cases in the southeastern United States and occasionally beyond. We focus on the missing persons, the unsolved murders, and the unidentified does that don't get media attention. Empathetic and intensively researched, The Fall Line will take you on deep dives into unsolved cases that you've never heard of and make you wonder why you haven't. Find us wherever you listen to podcasts.
And the coach, Tim LaComb. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's a Good Vibe Friday where, let's be honest, nothing but good vibes out there. Nothing but getting you fired up for a game tonight. Colton tweets in, good vibes for a new job position soon, a dominating Mammoth win, and the lottery ball is going the Jazz way. Now, Colton, I don't know if you just got a new job or if you're looking for a new job. Either way, Coach, sending good vibes to our guy, Colton.
Colton, I just responded with some magic dust.
There you go.
A little bit of magic dust.
A little bit of magic dust. Go get that job.
And Colton, you'll get it. I think I know who Colton is. He's a sharp young lad.
Yes.
Got a lot going for him. I think that's the thing you got to dig into on a Friday. Look outside right now.
Not a cloud in the sky.
We are so fortunate to have the time we got. So Colton, dig in and go get it.
Go get that job.
You can get it.
Tyler said it's a Good Vibe Friday when we have a big game tonight. Me and the 9-year-old boys cooking some T-bones while the girls go to some movie about a devil in Prada. Bring on a boys' night. Tusks up.
I'm with you on boys' night, and Tusks are up. Who's going to the game tonight? Lloyd, are you going?
I am not going to the game tonight.
Lloyd, you sent out a text. Am I going?
You are going.
Oh, okay.
You are.
So I will be there.
I got you. Yes, I got you a spot.
Are you covering it?
I will be covering it.
Scotty is
I'm covering it, correct?
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I like we got to have the verbiage correct. communication's important. They talk about it on the ice.
Yes.
They talk about it on the court. Man, is it important in a studio?
Which is funny because we're in the communication business. I don't think there's a group of people less qualified to communicate than we are.
Well, I think you
so
and Lloyd,
true.
for
It's
sure.
so true.
You are the worst. No, I'm just kidding.
You're not kidding.
This is an
Coach. It's
airing of
okay.
grievances. This is not.
No,
my day.
there's a good vibe today.
This is good vibe. We're
There
airing
will be an
grievances
airing
someday.
of grievances on Sunday.
That'll be in the middle of the summer. Nothing's going on.
I got some stuff I want to talk about. Hey, you talk about communication. You talk about not making mistakes, things along those lines. I thought this was a really good point. Lloyd brought this up to me during the break. André Tourigny was on with Jake and Ben yesterday afternoon, and they asked him about the Uyghur mistake that ultimately led to a situation where, you give up the shorty. And how do you address that? And I loved André Tourigny's answer to this.
If it's a mistake of a decision, okay, that will happen. I think that's the one I like to address. When it's an execution one, the puck kind of a slip on his stick. It was on the power play. He was skating backward and give a breakaway. It's not what you want, but execution will happen. It's like you're in the house, you drop a glass, you broke a glass, and your wife starts to yell at you. Do you think you meant to drop the glass, to do a mess in the kitchen? No. You just dropped the glass. That stuff happened. It's not what you wanted to do. And obviously, there's moments who are worse than others. So in second overtime in a playoff game, it's probably a worse. But he did not mean to do it. For me, that was not a decision. It's an execution one. It's different. So if you decide to take a risk and start to flip the glass in the air and you drop it, okay, that was probably not your best move. That was probably not smart. But if it's an execution one, it's different. So that's my comparison. I think Weeks on that play did not mean to make a mistake. It's not a bad decision. He fumbled the puck. Stuff happened. It is what it is. I think there's more in the game when you take a bad decision on a bad coverage or you make a bad read or stuff like that. That is more unfortunate to me.
It's the greatest answer to any question I've ever heard.
We definitely that needs to stick around.
We're going to stick that, yes, because that was as good of a response as anything I've ever heard. Because, look, and as a coach, that's got to resonate with you. Because sometimes, you're just in the kitchen, you grab a glass, you drop it, it breaks. Your wife's like, why'd you do that? Well, it's not like I wanted to do that. If you're over there spinning and trying to juggle three, glasses, then one falls, then it's like, okay, yeah, I screwed up. That one's on me. But, just a slip of the hand or whatever the case might be, it's not really your fault. You just screwed up. We can move on.
Yeah, and I think to be able to put it into such clear terms that everybody understands tells you what kind of coach Bear is. Because 80-90% of coaching is being able to, 10% of it really is coming up with the schemes. Everybody's got the schemes, and there's nothing out there that's necessarily way different, right? You've got a handful of things to pick on, and then you really work on it. The majority of this stuff is honestly it's how to communicate that to your team in a way that they'll A, understand it, and B, implement it. You've got when I was a young coach, I used to just love to go in and try to show how much I knew. Are you talking about the pin down or, but at the end of the day, nobody learns anything. It's just one person shouting how much they know. So a coach's biggest job is to take that nuance that you really want out of your guys and somehow implant that into their DNA. And that's over the course of a season, that's what you're trying to do. That little excerpt to me is gold because, we're sitting here and we get it. I mean, It makes total sense. Like Uyghur I said it yesterday, he's made that play thousands of times, retrieving a puck, literally retrieving it, and just slips off his stick. So that would be akin to dropping the glass. I mean, it wasn't like I'm going to turn this over because I want the game to end.
Yeah.
And obviously there's other times where guys go off script, and you hear that often where they leave a zone they shouldn't leave. That's like flipping the glass around.
Yeah.
And so I think he put that in great terms.
Well, there was Jay Stevens brought this up. I don't know if it was with us yesterday or on our post game, but he mentioned that he was at a practice and there was a player that was about 3 feet away from where he needed to be to set up this play. And Bear Tierney just tears him a new one. And he goes, "You need to be here." And the player is like, "I thought I was." Well, okay, that's an execution issue. You not knowing where you're at on the ice. If it gives up a goal, then that's something that you're going to go into the film room and you're going to be like, "Hey, moron, you can't be doing that. You know where you're supposed to be. You screwed it up. You were in the wrong place." That's unacceptable at this point in the season and this point in your career. However, if there's a guy that, slips on ice or the puck goes off his stick and it's a once in a million, but just the worst timing possible, you're like, man, that's some bad luck. But, it happens. That happens in December, and everybody's like, well, that was weird. And then they don't think about it again. It happens in the second overtime of a Game 5 on the road when you have a chance to go up 3-2. People are going to talk about that. Unfortunately, it's the same mistake, but there you go.
Yeah, and honestly, the beautiful part about it for Uyghur, again, it didn't end it. It wasn't a situation where that was the series. So they can still come out and, like Bear said, try to eliminate those types of mistakes, try to really be focused in those intense moments to be able to make the execution plays you need to make. And then, honestly, dude, you're at home. Yeah. Let it ride. You're not trying to protect anything. Go out there like you did in Game 5 and set the tempo and set the pace. Get this thing going up and down. And if it has to be a high-scoring affair, so be it. But the Mammoth strength, there is no question. I heard it a million times in the broadcast the other night on TNT. It's their pace, their skill, and their skating speed.
Yes.
Those are the things that come off the page. So at home, they need to figure out a way to get the game that way.
Is there the one thing that concerns me, too, is, and this is why I brought up in our first segment, you talk about the fact that if you lose this game, you're going home. I don't think you address that. I don't even think you talk about that, because I think that puts you in a situation for those little mistakes that we talk about with Uyghur to happen more often, when guys have so much pressure on them, and they're like, every little pass, every little accepted pass, every little outlet feels like it's the weight of the world coming down on you, and that's tough to perform under that type of pressure.
No, it totally is, and honestly, inherently, it'd be like me saying to you and Lloyd, hey, guys, this show ends at 2 o'clock. I mean, you already know.
Yeah.
You don't need to drive that point home. You need to drive another point home.
Yeah.
And, so, to me, that is not – there's no upside in any of that. It's do or die. Everybody gets it. So how do we make it do, not die?
How do you identify pretty quickly as a coach how to motivate guys? Because you have to do it differently for everybody, right?
You do. I think that has become more a thing lately.
Yeah.
More over the last 10 or so years. When I was a kid, they didn't care.
Oh, yeah.
You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't, no, wait, I'm allergic to grass. Well, you still got to get in the tackling drill.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, if you're going to play football, there were not a lot of accommodations made back then. So now, I mean, but psychology would be such, it's great. I think we should treat people differently, and people do react way different. I remember having a player take me aside after a game, and I was really grateful for it because, my first instinct was to be fairly intense, especially on things that I felt like we did a great job focusing on, and then, whatever. But I would tend to lead with some aggression.
Yeah.
I don't know. That probably surprises you, and some intensity, instead of just saying, "Hey, next time." So, great call out. Pulled me aside and said, "Coach, I really don't perform well when, you look like you're going to kill me.
Yeah.
So can you back off of that and talk to me differently?" And I was appreciative of it. So yeah, you do. You have to approach everybody differently. You have to know what makes them tick. But these dudes are competitors in their heart, and this is the playoffs. This is where it was yesterday, or Bill said it the other day, that Armstrong said these guys have been dreaming about this, these young guys, and they're here now. So, leave all the other stuff aside, and I do still think the positive in this is if you watch the series, it's a coin flip.
Oh, yeah. And that's what's made this thing so much fun. All right, 97.5 DKSL Sports Zone, what you may have missed, coming up next right here on The Zone.
This is Mike Bolo of Lexicon Valley.
And I'm Bob Garfield. Are you one of those people who sometimes uses words?
Do you communicate or acquire information with, language?
Hey, us too. So join us on Lexicon Valley to chew over the history, culture, and many mysteries of English, plus some wisecracks.
Find us on one of those apps where people listen to podcasts.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
The best sports radio in Utah is right here, right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What you may have missed right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, NBA playoffs last night. Despite a furious fourth quarter rally, the Knicks fall to the Hawks fall to the New York Knicks, 140-89.
It was really tight.
Atlanta outscored the Knicks by 2 in the fourth quarter, 25-23. At halftime of this game, it was 83-36. Quinn, what's going on, buddy? You can't be losing a game like that. It's one thing to lose, but geez.
He looks more and more like the doctor from He looks like Mr. Peabody with the crazy hair and the big old glasses. No, dude, I'm surprised. I said the other day, Atlanta kind of had some mojo, but that game, the last two games, New York just kind of bowed their neck and won the game. Brunson was great. I thought that really, if you look at the way the ball moved, the way they shot it in the last two games, the Knicks, they were right there on the verge, but they answered, and they'll move on.
Are you surprised? I mean, we saw him, torch the Jazz in a playoff series, and then he goes to New York. It's like, okay, can he really be the guy at that size? Can he really be taking over a franchise where it's going to be the spotlight is red hot? They're going to expect him to be the guy. They're paying him to be the guy. I think all of us thought that was an overpay on the Knicks' part, and he not only has been up for the challenge, but then some. He's just been absolutely phenomenal for them.
And honestly, it's one of those guys who we talked about it this week a lot, where he was not expected to be this good.
Nope.
He was taken 33rd in the 2018 draft, had a great career at Villanova. But I think it's one of those guys that people all his career said he's too small. He's this, he's that. What we see in this guy is incredible will. He's a supreme competitor. And yeah, I think he caught my attention going head-to-head and just winning every battle against the Jazz in that series and really kind of outclassing Donovan Mitchell in the process. And then he's just gone on to continue to be that guy. So more power to him, man. It's his world. New York's his town.
76ers have now reeled off a couple. They have now tied the series with the Boston Celtics, 106-93. That series will shift back to Boston for game number 7. But if you're a Celtics fan, are you nervous about this one?
For sure. I mean, you don't have to look much beyond, the three-point shooting. And in the 3 games that the Celtics have lost, they were 13 for 50 in one, 12 for 41 in the other, and 11 for 39. They're kind of a team that's going to go by that three-point shot, or they need some superhuman play from Brown and Tatum. And last night, Brown was both Brown and Tatum were limited last night. And so I think it's what was it? I'm trying to look right here. Brown had 18 points and Tatum had 17.
Yeah.
So they've got to do more than that. And then the supporting cast was pretty much non-existent.
I mean, you got Maxey scoring 30. And
yeah,
then
he's unbelievable.
And then you got Embiid, who all of a sudden has caught his second wind since coming back. So it's like, okay, Philly's not messing around here. And then ding dong, the Nuggets are dead. Timberwolves, their JV team with all the injuries they're dealing with, and Jaden McDaniels end up getting the win there, 110-98. So Denver is done and closed the book on this iteration of the Denver Nuggets. They're done. And I don't know how they'll retool somehow around Jokic, but that team needs a complete overhaul because what they have now is just simply not enough.
No, it's not.
Near a triple-double from our guy Gobert, by the way. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, what a series for Gobert. You got to give the dude his flowers. I know Shaq won't, but we will. He has not had a great track record in the playoffs throughout his career, oftentimes being played off the floor in series where they just have to, go a different direction. He was awesome, and he was a huge reason why, especially with Ant being out with injury, keeping that team together.
So afterwards, they asked Jokic if there's changes that need to be made. He said, "That's not my decision, to be honest. What I do know is if we were all in Serbia, we would all be fired."
Yeah, or one of them may be out and not just get lost, taken to another village, and whatever happened to Guido?
I think his definition of fired is a little different than. I think when he says fired, he means firing squad. But,
right, absolutely, 100% right. But the interesting thing about that, last year Denver makes the move to get rid of Mike. I call him Mike. Mike Malone. He prefers Michael. But a proven guy, won a title. And, in a really snap decision, they get rid of him, bring in David Adelman, who resembles Mad Magazine's Alfred E. Newman. Just throw a Denver Nugget shirt on Al. But I would say his tenure is in peril.
Well, you got Mike Malone rolling on a bed of money in Chapel Hill like Demi Moore in that movie, and it's just like, I could get used to this and loving every second of it.
And he's saying, I could just travel within my geographic region, and there's only 38 games at the most. I'm in.
Yeah, sign me up for this. Travis Yost, NHL writer for TSN, joins us next right here on The Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hi, I'm Alicia.
And I'm Stacy.
And we make Trashy Divorces, everybody's favorite good podcast about bad relationships.
Looking for something true crimey without the gore or the body count?
We've been churning out funny, feisty, feminist episodes since 2019. So if you're looking to put some scandalous stories told well into your ears this summer, check out Trashy Divorces, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Trust us, we've covered someone you love.
Or someone you love to hate.